Pickleball Show, Episode 10, original air date 3/30/15.
When shopping for car insurance, consider this. Geico has been saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years. So if you're serious about savings, it's simple. Go to geico.com. After 75 years, they know how to save you money.
From Bainbridge Island to the Villages,
Pickleball is one of the fastest growing sports in America.
Buckeye to Abbotsford,
Time out, baby, yeah! Woo!
St. George to Rochester, and all points in between.
If you've heard of pickleball or you already play it, then you know.
This is the Pickleball Show.
This is Gail Leach, author of The Art of Pickleball, and here's the host of The Pickleball Show, Chris Allen.
Thank you, Gail, and welcome to the show dedicated to helping you play better pickleball while having even more fun and meeting new friends who share your passion for this great sport. My name is Chris Allen. I'm your host, and today is Listener Question Day. I need help answering these listener questions, I can tell you that. So I've assembled a good panel for us today, and about the only question I could probably handle on my own would be something like, how does it feel to be leading in a game 9-1 and then lose the game 11-9? That one I could answer by myself, but for the rest of them, I need some help, and I've got some great help indeed. Melissa McCurley from pickleballtournaments.com and Wayne Mugley, legendary referee and all-around pickleball aficionado. Welcome to you both.
Hey, thanks, Chris. Good to be here.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for offering it.
I really appreciate you making time, and I'm sure the listeners do too. Today is Listener Question Day. We're going to answer questions from listeners. They've called in, they've written in, and lots of different things on a variety of topics they want to know. And we're going to start out with an email question here. This first one comes from Tom in Bethesda, Maryland, and Tom says, I wear 2 knee braces and am not the fastest guy on the court. Oftentimes, people will hit drop shots on me before I can make it up to the kitchen. What is the best way to avoid this? Tom, thank you for the question. Wayne, what do you think?
Well, if you're talking the third shot, if it's your second shot, don't hit it back hard and low because you don't have the time to get in. You can, if you hit it like me, I have the same problem. I'm slow, old, knee problems. So I tend to lob it up high, return it high and deep, so I can walk in, and then you're there set for the drop shot. But if you're running, if you hit it back low and hard, remember you've already got your swing through. You got to get yourself set to run in there. By that time he's lobbing it, you're going to be late, especially if you're slow and low or old like I am. So I tend to be lazy, and I'll just throw it back deep. The good players you can't hit through, so if you put it back deep, walk in, get ready for the drop shot, and be there.
Now, some people say you should never lob from the baseline. Do you agree with that, or is it a it depends type of an answer?
It depends. If you're in the wind, of course, no. If you're playing in the wind, no. I'm not saying lob the return. I'm saying put a good high arch on it. Remember, you're only 15 feet from that kitchen line, so that you want to give yourself time in there where they don't hit the ball. If you hit it hard, they got a lot more choices to hit it at you harder coming back, and you're going to get caught halfway in, and then you have to do all kinds of strange stuff. So you don't have to hit the ball back hard. Just hit it back, and not quite as high as a lob, but keep it high and deep, and you can get in there and be ready for that drop shot, even with bad knees.
Sometimes it's hard to think of not hitting a winner, but just hitting a shot that'll buy you enough time to get to the line, because a lot of times you're just, you're always thinking winner, it seems like, or at least I am.
Melissa, I'll let you answer that one.
What? Oh, hitting a winner?
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that. So I'm always strategically looking, how can I get to that line without them hitting a winner back by me on my way up?
I like what Coach Mo said. I think about it a lot when I play now. He said that when you're not at the line, your only job is to get to the line. And then when you're at the line, you can actually focus on winners then. And that piece of advice has really helped me.
Yeah, it is a good piece. And one of the things, remember, pickleball is an easy sport. Just get it over in the court last, over the net. Yeah. How you get it over that net is what determines the whole rally. So the main thing is what you're comfortable with. Now, you got these young guys that can hit it back hard, and they could be up to that line and, before my eyes blink. And you got the old folks like us. I can't get up to the line that fast, so you have to do a little bit more to understand. Philosophy I teach more than anything is I don't teach all the players to win the point all the time. I teach them to make the other side lose the point.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another philosophy on it, and you can do that by doing strategy. Too many people do an unforced error trying to slam it in on their way in, or to the line, or before they get to the line. So there's just, it all depends. If you're in the wind, the hard hitters have an advantage over the soft players because they can hit through the wind. I mean, there's not a blanket answer. How's that?
Fair enough. We're answering listener questions today. Let's go to the phones.
Chris, this is Rich from Kansas City. I love your podcast. My question has to do with the topic of different tactics for playing outdoor pickleball versus indoor pickleball. I know the wind and some other factors apply, but can you tell us some differences in tactics or strategy that we should try to use? Thank you.
Well, thank you for calling in, Rich, and a reminder that anybody can call the Pickleball hotline anytime you want. It's standing by 24/7 for you, and that number is 1-855-PB-SHOW. That's 1-855-PB-SHOW. We were just talking about the difference between playing indoors and outdoors and the wind and other elements. Are there specific strategies? If you're going to a tournament that's indoors, do you adopt a different strategy than when you're going to go play in an outdoor tournament, Melissa?
I don't think so. I think, the wind being a bigger factor, a lot of times indoors you have more room between the courts as well. Indoor, I think, is a little more challenging, at least it has been for me, because you're dealing with multiple lines on the floor. You're dealing with glare on the floor. You don't really have the outside elements, if you will. But once you can get through being able to see exactly where the pickleball court is, I think there might be some advantage in actually being able to execute some of your shots a bit better than maybe you can outdoors, because you don't have the weather elements that you're dealing with, whether it is the sun or the wind. If you're playing outdoors, you can use the sun to your advantage as well, though, especially if you want to throw up a lob shot to your opponent with the sun in their eyes to try to get an advantage that way.
Mm-hmm. Wayne, do you give any advice to when you're training referees to calling a game indoors versus outdoors? Any differences there?
No, you still have to enforce the rules one way or the other. But the indoor, she's 100% correct. The other problem on the indoor is the lighting, fluorescent lighting. Sometimes it's harder to pick up the ball. The indoor ball is a slower ball, so you have more lobbing. All the balls are equal size holes. They're not like the outdoor ball, which has two sides of holes. Mm-hmm. But the indoor strategy, my personal feeling is the outdoor game doesn't do much for the indoor game, but the indoor game creates patience in the outdoor game. The rallies last much longer because the ball is a little slower. And as far as the lines are concerned, yes, multiple lines. But when you have practiced a lot, there's two things in your mind when you're a higher level player. If your foot touches the kitchen line, even by an inch, you have that mental feeling. And the second thing is, if the ball's in or out on the other side. So therefore, you start guiding through the lines, and the lines are at first are intimidating, but after a while, it's just like back outdoors. When you hit a good shot, when you didn't. So
if the opportunity affords itself, if you're an outdoor player that know you're heading somewhere to play indoors, if you have the opportunity to go early and make that adjustment, it's well worth the time. Vice versa, if you're going from indoor to outdoor, especially if you're going to an outdoor area in which you're at a higher elevation and the ball tends to take flight a lot easier. If you have the opportunity to get there a day or two earlier to make those adjustments, it'll certainly help your game. So.
Yeah, it's amazing how the difference in the sound that the ball makes when it hits, that can throw you off your game, it seems like, and it really is nice when you have some extra time to get used to that.
A lot of the outdoor players, when they start up playing indoor, they think they can't hit it out. Because the ball doesn't travel as far. And, when they come outside, and when the indoor players come down here to Arizona and play, that they're lobbing past the inline. It takes them, like Melissa said, a good day to make that adjustment because the ball's a heavier and a harder ball on the outside, mm-hmm. and you have the outside elements too. So the main thing is trust in what you've taught yourself and your hits. But personally, I don't know about Melissa. Personally, I like the indoor game much better than I like the outdoor game. But I live outdoor.
I don't know. I've only played indoor 2-3 times now, and it's a big adjustment. At least it has been for me. But I have met others who much more prefer the indoors. I think it's pickleball is so much about touch, and when you go indoors, you do have to hit it a lot harder to get it deeper, and then you're trying to make that adjustment then on your soft shot with your dink, and it can be difficult to make that transition.
Well, Rich, thank you again for the call. Let's go to Glenda now in Fresno, California. Glenda wrote to us via email, and Glenda says, we use yellow balls where I play, and some of the players use yellow paddles, which makes it hard to see the ball sometimes. I think yellow paddles should be outlawed, Glenda writes. Do you? What do you guys think? That, when you have a paddle head that's the same color as the ball, it's easy to lose it in there. And I know some guys they show up wearing their yellow shirts, and, they try to get a shirt that matches the color of the ball, especially when they're playing in tournaments. What do you think about that?
Go ahead, Melissa. I'll let you tackle that one first.
Yeah, I don't know. This one I don't like to touch too much because where does that line stop? I mean, you change the color to green, and then can you not have green paddles? Can you not wear green shirts? Mm-hmm. I know that I play. I have a yellow paddle. I've played with people who have yellow paddles, people who've worn yellow shirts, and I just have not had the issue picking up the ball that some people indicate that they have. I think if you try to change the color of the ball, then the problem just follows it. It's with whatever color you try to change it to. It's
a slippery slope, isn't it?
It really is.
Well, I agree with Melissa 100%. We can't have rules within rules. You just, and I'm one of the guys that when they first started coming on the yellow paddles, I couldn't pick up, because I like to pick up the spin on the ball, because you adjust and it gets you set up for the next shot. And I wasn't picking up the spin on the ball, but then after a while, you do, and again, that comes from playing. And that's the mental side of the game. If you allow that to bother you, then you're not learning pickleball. You're letting something deter you from becoming a better pickleball player because you're complaining about something that's not going to change. Yeah. They're not going to change the clothes. They're not going to change the yellow paddles. It should not be outlawed, and Melissa's 100%. You don't want to touch on that too much because where does it stop?
Well, thank you, Glenda, for writing in, and we appreciate that. Let's head up to the land of 10,000 lakes right now.
Hello, my name is Paul, and I'm calling from Minnesota, where pickleball keeps us warm even when it's below zero outside. I really appreciate the podcast. Having it available first thing Monday morning gets the week off to a real good start. Here's my question. I would really like you to share the best method or option for rotating in the next foursome after a game has been completed. It seems like each venue where I play has their own system of lining up the paddles of the individuals waiting to play. In your estimation, what works best, or what system would you recommend? Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Paul, for calling in. We appreciate that. Yeah, I've played in different systems. I guess the most common is the laying your paddle down, which I don't like because a lot of times if I'm waiting, I want to go practice my third shot or do something with my paddle. Have you guys run into a system that seems to work better than others?
I don't know. People have their preference. Some systems, people have, two that stay on, that one they stay on and split, two others come on. I personally like 4 on and 4 off. And I think you have to have some sort of method. So we see people put paddles on fences. People have built paddle racks, put those paddles up at the courts. And so that when they come off, the others can come on. So all I could say for you, Chris, if you want to practice, you might just want to get a second paddle.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, you have to look at whether it's a club round robin, or if it's some place that is an open play, like a city courts or something like that. I like the 4 on 4 off if there's 10 to 15 people waiting. If there's not, I like the 2 on and split. Again, if you're at a club environment where you got 10 to 15 of your people waiting to play, nobody wants to wait. So 4 on 4 off to me is exciting, especially if it's in a drop-in format where you're all at the same level or whatever. 4 on 4 off gets you on quicker, and of course, if you got 48 courts, that really gets you back on the court within a few minutes of when you come off. But if there's nobody waiting, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 people, I like the other side, which is split. we don't do the paddle so much. That in a club environment, you have your names on a magnetic strip that you put that down. You know who's next in line, and somebody always teams. You always have the person that goes out and starts monitoring, calls the court open enough. So there is no tried and true method. It's whatever works for you and how many people you have waiting on the sideline.
Gotcha. All right, let's go to an email question now. And this is from Becky in Westchester, Pennsylvania. And Becky writes, if someone lobs over my head, when should I get it? And when should my partner get it? And we switch sides. So what's a good determination if somebody does the lob? When do you do the triangle move? And then when do you just go back and get it? Is there a rule that people pretty much subscribe to?
Well, I know for me, I come from a tennis background, and so I tend to subscribe to a rule. And that is, if the lob is going over my partner's head, I'm going to go to retrieve the lob and tell my partner to switch. And then once you switch, then you need to stay in that position. Don't go back, because if you do that, then you tend to leave big open spots onto the court. Mm-hmm. So that's how I would cover the lob. And then you also need to know whether or not your partner has the ability to cover the lob at all. And because if they don't, then you've got to cover the lob no matter which direction it's going, whether it's going over your head or their head. What have you found, Wayne, in championship play?
Well, in championship play, most guys like me, old and slow, and people like Melissa, young and fast, there's different things. But like outside, if you're looking up, and they lob it over your head, and you look directly into the sun, you can't see the ball. Mm-hmm. If that's that's another tactic. But your partner looking at it from the side has a better view, so you have to trust in your partner saying, "I got it," and that comes under communication between you and your partner. Mm-hmm. For loud, there's no set rule to do it other than the environment, what you're working in, and also, are you fast or slow? And I also tell people if it's a high lob and you're older like I am, I don't use the triangle method. I use the question mark method. That means you loop back, let it, you don't have to take the lob out of the air. You can let it, but your partner has to come back with you. But I call it a question mark because I do kind of a round circle, and I come back and, I keep my head down, especially if I'm looking into the sun, and I let it bounce. And it's just like starting over from the third shot on the serve. You drop it, hit it hard, or lob it right back. So it's not a given that you have to hit a lob out of the air. Right. Yeah, I tend to prefer the triangle either way, whether I got lobbed on or if I'm the partner, just because I feel like the partner has just a much better beat on the ball. And I'd rather them get it and switch, or I go get it and we switch. But that tends to work. That, to me, if I had a partner that I played with constantly, I think that would just be 100% the way that we did it all the time. It's a great question, and more people are getting effective at the lob. So I think knowing how to defend against the lob is something we all need to probably practice more. Oh, God, yeah. I've had some lobs on me where it's like, oh, no, I totally got this in the air, and it's just like a quarter of an inch above the edge of my paddle, and it's like, oh, how could he have gotten that so perfectly over my head? And before it hits the ground, you look across the net, and you go, nice shot. And we all done that one. You don't even know neither one you're going to go back and get it, so you just, especially if you're old and slow. Yeah. The worst is when you try to get it out of the air, but you miss it totally. You whiff it, and then it bounces, and you think, oh, I've got a second chance, and then you miss it again. You know how to get by that? I'll tell you how to take that spotlight right off of you. What do you do? You get up, and you get this big grin on your face. You point across the net, and you go, great shot, and everybody's watching your hand pointing across the net. So that saves that face from getting red. So there's a way to get out of that. I'm going to use that one. I'm definitely going to remember that and put that in my arsenal there, my bag of tricks. Because I need that one a few times a day, I think. Yeah, so that's that one, man. You want the attention to go to the other side. So you point, great shot, you guys over there, and you shake your finger a little bit, and so everybody tends, it's just like everybody tends to go where the finger's pointing. Good advice.
Well, I think the big hand on the clock is pointing up, and we're out of time right now. But I want to thank you both for joining us on this listener question edition of the Pickleball Show, and you guys are great. Thank you so much, Wayne. We appreciate it, and look forward, as always, to seeing you either reffing on the court, or my favorite is hearing you calling the games with the Nationals coming up and the rest of them. I love it when you're on there and giving your commentary, and it just makes the game even more fun. And you and Melissa make a great team on the air.
I want everybody to know, I know Melissa. She's a wonderful player. I just like it. She's always got a good smile, very intense when she's playing, but she's never angry or getting. I just enjoy being around you, Melissa.
Yeah, I have to second that. You are a pleasure to work with, Melissa, and great attitude. Pickleball's lucky to have you.
Well, I appreciate it. Lucky to have you guys both. And the respect here with Wayne is absolutely mutual. If I step on the court to play a match and he's going to be my referee, then I know the best match possible is going to be called. It may not be the best match played by me, but he will call it perfectly.
When you guys get to play pickleball, I'll take care of everything else.
There you go.
Guys, thank you again. Enjoyed it, and we'll talk with you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris.
Tournament update on the way. It's the Pickleball Show.
When shopping for car insurance, consider this. Geico has been saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years. So if you're serious about savings, it's simple. Go to geico.com. After 75 years, they know how to save you money.
Let's check in with the other half of pickleballtournaments.com here on the Pickleball Show. It's Melissa's brother, Greg Thompson. Greg, how you doing out there today?
Oh, hey, we're just doing our thing out here in Arizona with all the pickleball that you can handle, but the tournaments are starting to move out of here as the weather warms up, and we're in the Midwest with the Mix It Up in May tournament.
Oh, I like the sound of that. Mix It Up in May. Sounds like Rumble in the Jungle or one of those old Ali Frazier fights. The Thrilla in Manila.
The Thrilla in Manila. This is the Mix It Up in May tournament. It's coming May 1st through the 3rd from Howell, Michigan. Nancy Fritsch is the tournament director for this one. They are going to be playing with the green balls indoor at this tournament. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. We love indoor play, and the green balls just add a little bit of spice to the game.
Those green balls always remind me of those little guys in Toy Story, the claw guys that were, getting picked up, the little alien guys. The claw. Yeah. It's the claw.
The claw.
Sounds good. Where else we headed?
Northwest to the Walla Walla YMCA tournament.
Walla Walla Y.
Walla Walla Y. Just the name itself makes you smile, don't it?
It sure does.
If memory serves correctly, Walla Walla YMCA here in Walla Walla, Washington is the second biggest YMCA in the country. I believe that is a correct fact, Chris.
Go to Walla Walla and play some pickleball balla.
The Walla Walla Pickleball tournament.
What's the deadline for that one?
The deadline for that one is April 19th. Play dates are May 2nd and May 3rd. Again, the Walla Walla YMCA Pickleball Tournament being put on by Dave Gibson as the tournament director in Walla Walla, Washington.
That sounds like fun. Check it out if you're up in that Pacific Northwest area. Greg, thank you. We'll check in with you soon. Hey, thanks again to Wayne Mugley for joining us, and Melissa McCurley, as always, from pickleballtournaments.com. We are thankful that you joined us as well, and we'd love for you to go over to iTunes if you think it's appropriate and leave us one of those coveted 5-star reviews that helps boost us up in the rankings. Really makes it a lot easier for pickleball lovers around the world to find the show. Give us a call whenever you want. We're open 24/7. The number is 1-855-PB-SHOW. That's 1-855-PB-SHOW. Mail at pickleballshow.com. We'd love to hear from you. My name is Chris Allen. This is the Pickleball Show. And until next week, keep 'em low.